My name's Dominic. Live on this boat. I haven't showered in 2 or 3 days, and I've been a boat hobo for about 2 years now from Toronto. I used to do websites and software, and now I buy crap and sell it. It's a mahogany wrapped in plywood and wrapped in fiberglass. I've reinforced it, and it came from Europe without an engine. The father of the son that I bought it off of spent 35 grand bringing it over here on a train, because I sailed it up the St. Lawrence, put an engine on it in the Nanaimo, and then brought it up here. And then after all that, the son sold it for me for $3,000. It needed some repair, and the steering column blew up on me there when I was coming home and I had to get rescued. I fixed that because it exploded, and then the floor actually dropped a couple inches. So I decided I'm gonna fix every system on the boat until I take it out again, or before I take it out again. So July 8th is when the last part comes in. So it looks like crap until July 8th. I had to open up this area here to open up the hatch so I could repair. I've been redoing it all because that's where the water got in, and then that rotted the wood underneath, and that's how the steering column collapsed. So now it's aluminum and cherry wood wrapped in fiberglass, sealed with 2 types of marine epoxy and liquid wood, so it will never ever break again. 610 watts of solar. We've got it split down the center, so traditionally if you have a little corner of your solar panel covered, it's dead, but these ones here you can cover. It's like 4 panels in one, kind of, so slightly more efficient. They're wired in parallel instead of series. Today series would have been nice because of the extra voltage, but in parallel you get more if one panel is covered. Starlink is mounted on the radar thing because I don't have a pole yet, but it's there and it's functional. On a boat it's called a galley. I still call it a kitchen, so yeah, sue me. This is where one would do dishes if one did dishes. I just installed running water, and the boat isn't quite mobile enough for me to go. Uh-oh, did I just? Terrified of running out of water, because if I do, I have to fill up buckets and then dump it in here manually. Cheating on dishes and doing that for now. Obviously it needs to be clean, but the push button start doesn't work, so I have to use a lighter. But it performs as advertised. I don't really use it as much as the diesel stove, to be honest. I mean, that would get moderately hot, it wouldn't burn the food. I can make stuff in the oven and it would keep the boat warm. Functionally, the fuel comes in here. It's actually used vegetable oil from the store. Comes in here through the carburetor, fills the float chamber, goes into the bottom of this guy here, and then I light that on fire and it stays going throughout the night. So we have a 60 amp charge controller that goes into the lithium battery with these not really nice alligator clips. I had to hammer them in to give them better contact. 1000 watt pure sine wave inverter is all I need, actually. So that's going to here with welding cables. We have a DC to DC battery charger. So when I'm running the engine and the alternator has filled up these batteries, it'll go with 40 amps to this battery. It's my temporary fridge because I eat a whole frozen meal a day, I guess. So it's gonna be chicken sandwiches for breakfast / lunch whenever I get a chance to eat that. The only clean room in the entire boat actually is the bathroom, or the head as it's called. It has a nice vent, it has a nice open area, and the power to the toilet never goes out, so it's always venting the wonderful smell. But it's a composting toilet. You got peat moss and waste that goes there, and I empty it out like once every 2 months. There's my mirror. It's functional, so I haven't gotten a new one. That's the theme of this boat, functional, so I haven't gotten a new one. So that is the couch. I slept on that in the winter time because that room isn't insulated. There's a lot of storage on this boat, but I don't know how to use it. I joke around about how it's like bad ADHD. I have bad ADHD, so organization on a normal day is a challenge for me. Throw me on a boat and put too many things on it, it's insane. We got storage under here. I don't even actually know what's in a lot of these toolboxes. But there's the engine in all of its glory. So it's means to an end. It's a lot of anxiety, it's a lot of clutter, it's a lot of mess, it's a lot of weed, it's a lot of tobacco, it's a lot of stressing out. it's a lot of hemorrhaging money and not having enough time to make any. So you wind up just fixing old crap and selling it, trading it up. That's how I have radar. I couldn't afford radar, and I have radar. But if I couldn't afford brand new diesel stove, got a brand new diesel stove. I had to afford that.
So why do you live on a sailboat?
I was with my buddy Jeremy at his cottage, and I was drunk as hell off tequila. We had a frank conversation about where my life is, and I owned my own business, and I was doing pretty well, and I had my own apartment, and I was probably months away from like taking my own life. I was entirely miserable, and I watched my father get destroyed by capitalism. And capitalism, his notion of it, he followed all the rules. He went to school, he got the job, and he got destroyed for it. And I was looking at where my path was, where I am, and where it was going. And where it was going, I didn't want. So when COVID came around and all my clients, because I did online marketing, they all became non-essential. I had the choice of going back to my father's house and starting again, or, you know what I mean, taking the government's money and paying off my debts and just going. So I did just that, because COVID, on paper, I could prove it, took away 70% or more of my income. It was more like 90% of it. So for the first year and a bit, I lived like an idiot. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never been on a boat before. I lived on a boat that was just over there. I had no heat, I had no power, I didn't know how to sail it, I had no engine on it. But yeah, no, I live on a sailboat because I like having all of the projects and the freedom to decide if I want to spend my time working on the boat or trade my time for money. And if I trade my time for working on the boat and fishing, I find that more fulfilling, even though I make much less. You know what I mean? Before, my life revolved around money, and I was making it, and I thought it was what I wanted. I thought that was the key to happiness, having more. And now that I have less, I'm happy with what I have, and that's why I live on a sailboat. I chose a sailboat instead of a powerboat because I like the quiet. There's a lot of noise that all the time goes on in my head, and being able to just have nothing or no one around me, no engines, turn off everything, pull up the sails, go from point A to point B, and it gives a little bit of, there's a focus that I have to maintain, but there's also the emptiness that I can kind of live with, and it helps me find my peace. Well, there's a lot of benefits to this type of lifestyle. I can pose a situation that someone may want to do that I'm not doing just because I enjoy the struggle. But I have Starlink, and I have computers, and I have tablets, and I have keyboards. If I wanted to do my online marketing again and do that sort of lifestyle, I wouldn't be spending $2,200 a month on rent. I would be getting a lot of my food that I'd be wanting to eat, like fresher and for most likely cheaper. A lot of the meats you get come from this island. The fish you get at the store is fresh caught. Nothing has hormones or GMOs in it, so I eat better. I pay less in theory for my lifestyle. I don't, because of the way I've done it. I bought the cheap boat and I'm building it up. If someone had $30,000-$40,000 and wanted to buy a sailboat, they wouldn't have to spend a full-time job doing this. They'd be able to work from home, have a nice quiet lifestyle. You know what I mean? You can choose your neighbors, you can move whenever you want to. Gas is cheap or free, you can make your own fuel for it. It's a 3-cylinder diesel, you know what I mean? 20 liters will last me 25 hours of runtime. I don't feel like I'm in a cage. And I think that's why a lot of people do it. It's cheaper. It's in theory cheaper, you know what I mean? If you choose to do it cheaper, you can do it cheaper. But you can also do the boat hobo thing and just barely scrape by. I have to go get more food. I sold a mooring yesterday, so I'm actually doing kind of okay right now. But I got rental boats and stuff like that, but there's other ways of making money. Coming from computer background, I could have done that on this island because there's a huge vacuum of computer. But I left capitalism for a while, and I'm not going to go back until I see it fit. We're gonna build the blockchain for the island. It's already in progress. You know what I mean? Just I can fish, I can row, I have a working boat. Like yeah, just what? Yeah, I don't need much more. I have what I need, and I need what I have, and I'm okay with that. And that's yeah, it's the first time I've ever felt fulfilled in my entire life, which is the nice part.
What are some of the challenges that you faced in this lifestyle?
Other than the steering column blowing up in the middle of trying to get home, fuel line issues, last winter in the middle of winter, 110 kilometer hour storms. My mast got tangled up to 2 sailboats. Power blowing up when you need power, heat not working when you need heat, boat sinking, boats crashing into you, anchors dragging, leaks, random system failures you can't figure out, failures that happened a week ago that you didn't notice until now that got worse, maintenance, politics, small island politics. That can be a Seinfeld episode. Not having basic amenities until you build them yourself. Unless you buy a boat that's $30,000-$40,000, it's a tenth of the price of a really nice house, and you get all those amenities built in for you. I would just break everything and redo it. I would be so bored. The negatives and positives depend heavily on what you choose to do with your boat and what kind of boat you get. You can have a lot more negatives than positives for the first X amount of time, and then it could change to a lot more positives and negatives. I think right now I'm kind of in that center. I'm living with the in-between, having all the working systems and having the construction zone. So for me it only gets better. But for some people, or for me 2 years ago in that boat, looking in that situation with no heat going into winter, it didn't look that way. And I questioned why I chose to live on a sailboat. I don't question it anymore. Because yeah, like I put in that work. I learned about it. I didn't know how to do wood boats. I didn't know how to do fiberglass boats. And now I know how to do wood boats and fiberglass boats and fix an outboard. So it goes up from here. There's more benefits now than there are negatives. And there's going to be even more benefits going forward. I haven't had cell phone reception in 3 days. You know what I mean? Like I could turn on, oh, the Starlink's on, so I have internet. So if I wanted to not be bothered, you know what I mean? It's really nice not having a reliance on that, because my life revolved around that before, and you know what I mean? And now I can forget it's there for 6-7 hours and I won't even know it's there. I literally will not find that like until I go looking for it. And that's okay with me because I can go fishing. This is a good day for me. And this won't last more than a week. I got a pocket full of 50s, right? And I sold a mooring at a loss because the person was gonna get one that wasn't right for her boat, and I didn't want her to go up on shore, and she doesn't listen to anyone, and so I'm like, alright, this one's cheaper, you should get this one. Oh, it's cheaper, there we go. So there's that. I'm gonna flip that boat there that I'm using for Aria. I'm renting out a bigger boat that I'm gonna get back at the end of July, and that's either gonna be Airbnb'd or that's gonna be flipped, or I'm just gonna use it as a workshop and keep it. There's a way out of the boat hobo, but I'm not done with the boat hobo. So right now, for money, I do whatever the hell I can that doesn't involve making money, if that makes sense. I make exactly what I need and not a dollar more, and I'm going to keep it that way until I can figure out what in my life I need and what I don't need, what I want and what I'm using to fulfill or to fill an empty void. And I want to remove all of the things that are there just to fill gaps that peace, like, I don't know, like inner peace can fill on their own. If I don't know if, yeah, it sounds like all like ookie dookie, but I don't know, like just I have a really hard time finding peace. It's all the ADHD and just whatever you want to call it, but inner peace is something that's really hard for me to find. I have trouble organizing and sleeping and calming down, so anything that helps me do that, I think is good. I don't know what the question was, I forgot it. I learned that my limits aren't where I thought they were. I haven't found them, to be quite honest. I survived the hardest winter I could give myself, and I didn't give up. I just kept through it, and I did it. I could have come back at any time. My father even offered to pay the $400 a month at the gorge, right? Like, just get out of the situation. I'm like, no, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, what's my limit? I haven't found it. Even when my boat almost hit the rocks, I was calm. The other guy was like, we could have like almost hit, like touched the rocks in front of us and stuff like that. The steering column blew up. Yeah, it taught me how to have a cool head. It taught me what I can live with and what live without. It taught me to be as self-sufficient. It showed me, it didn't teach me how to be self-sufficient. It showed me that I already knew how to be. So it showed me that I didn't need to make serious changes to myself to be the person that I wanted to be. It was just already there, and I had layers over top. And so it was nice to be able to remove those layers and sit down and be at a base and be like, all right, this is where I am. It's a very, very small circle, and here's where I want to be. And by removing all those extra layers, I was able to view myself as a much more clear, scope. And then also, you know what I mean, having no power and no heat in the wintertime gives you a lot of time to, what the hell am I doing with my life? Like, why am I here? Like, why have I chose this? And so, yeah, it's one of those things that just, I'm invincible until proven otherwise, and that's been proven kind of every day. But if I choose to move on from this lifestyle and I go back to the city life and the corporate world, it's like, it's just not gonna phase me. Like, people are blah 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 and like empty threats and stuff like that, and then poker faces, and there's like, it's just, I don't know. Like, you put a farmer against a city like person from Toronto, and you tell them to build a fence. Who's gonna build the fence faster, right? And so I think there's a work ethic that I've learned that it's hard to learn without being that hungry. So you have to physically be hungry to want to work that hard. But yeah, I haven't hit the end though. I could still suffer some more. You know what I mean? I'm not. It's good. It's going up. But yeah, I definitely learned how much I can suffer and still keep going. How much I can ignore the immediate for the long term. I don't even have anything public. I have Instagram, I think. Let me check. I used to be all up. Digital marketer, eh? Like, this is my old business. I don't even know my own thing because I deleted it. Weird boat adventure. That's my Instagram. I thought it was idiot on a boat. That's it's one word, weird boat adventure.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. Also, if you want to watch more alternative dwellings, we got a playlist popping up right here, and we release new episodes every single Sunday, so consider subscribing.